All right, people. Well, shoot, if you're going to put the thing all the way over there, you need to put it here.
Here?
I think so, right? That way you can see it. We look toward... You turn it so I can't see it, and then I won't be fighting people in the comments. What's up, people? Got some new microphone stands.
Yeah, these are nice.
These are the Yellowtech Mika. I guess these are like the side arm version, which is a better, I think, a better way to do this. So I rewired my desk. I got my office back. It's a lot less dusty in here now. It took me a couple of days of de-dusting Chris's dust funk because he doesn't see dust. And yeah, so hopefully it sounds good for you guys. It looks like the audio levels look pretty good. But we'll be getting some new lighting in here soon too. When I think, what did they say, October 14th. So we got a month and a half before, I guess 2 months before my lights show up for the yarn building and then in here. But we're making some progress every day. Make something better every day, Chris. That's what you do.
It's good. I like it. It's improving.
Yeah, so now our faces aren't blocked by the mics. We just have to get used to, like, where do you put it?
I don't know if that's good or not. For video crowd.
Oh, I thought we had matching shirts, but we don't. It's a different color. So, yeah, what else is going on? The yarn building's coming together. Hopefully we get power on our second... what does that sound?
It's probably my sound. Hold on.
Yeah. What is going on here? We got another what do you call it? Meter, another sub panel. Meter. Yeah, another sub panel we had to put in. So once they come and pop the meter in, then we can turn the other AC unit on, and we can get the building conditioned properly and dehumidified. So that's what I'm excited about. Because yesterday I worked in the garage all day over there in the heat, and I thought I was going to freaking die. I felt terrible. It was 96 or 7 degrees, so it was probably 100 in there. And I don't know, just wasn't feeling it. Too hot.
Welcome to summer in Florida. Our friend Trevor started with us this week, our newest employee.
Yep.
And he's getting acclimated here. The right time of year to get acclimated.
Yeah, well, he's over here working in the beautifully conditioned, we walk outside once in a while. But, yeah, he's running around in this. It's super comfy over here. It's 72 degrees and 45% humidity. It's fantastic.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. We have lots of chat here already. Oh, 2 super chats already, too. All right, let's see. Oh, someone's asking here. This is good. Is Michelle ever going to do a wash and talk?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a big no on that one.
She's not. I don't think she's into that, and you probably.
What we might do is just never wash the Raptor. I'm going to leave the Hillops on there. I took the P off, and then I quit. So maybe we'll just leave it.
That's
dirty forever.
Yeah, the dealer. For those of you wondering, Phillips took the P off.
Mm-hmm.
Sound a little weird when you say you took the P off. Let's see here. We have a super chat from Jose de la Torre, $19.99. And no question, just says, good afternoon, guys. So there you go. There's $20 for you.
Cool.
$8.99. What is that? Pounds sterling. From Stephen. He says, hi, from Wales. I'm going back to using wax for a while. I'll be applying Swiss Specs Crystal Rock as a replacement for CSL and EXO.
That's cool.
Should I change anything from your current wash process? Beadmaker ?
Beadmaker should still work. I haven't long-term tested it with wax, but it should still be okay. I mean, it is. I'm pretty sure it's a silicon dioxide. They don't really publish it, but it's a silicon dioxide-based sealant. But it should work as a good drying aid topper for it. You just have to dry it. And Crystal Rock is like $1,500 a container, something like that. It's pretty cool. That's like it's the big daddy to the Concorso that's sitting over there. That one that I've never used, that I just like looking at.
Gotcha. Crystal Rock. Wow. Okay. Let's see. MVC10 Poker says, I remember you previously mentioning that you will carry the PF22 filters at some point. Is this still the plan? If so, when?
Yeah, I guess we probably should, huh?
Yeah, like a little rebuild kit sort of thing.
Yeah, we probably need to get that. I've been saying that forever.
All right, Ken Jeeper is chiming in here along with a couple other folks, reminding everyone, including Matt, to smash the like button and subscribe. They're going to do that every week now.
Oh, my gosh.
This is good stuff.
I mean, clicking the like button is not like the world's worst thing. It helps more people find it. It pushes the channel and all. But, and yes, some people need to be reminded, but come up with your own frickin' term. It's dorks, a bunch of dorks out there with no original thought. You think everybody on YouTube would be pretty original, but a lot of them just copy what everybody else is doing. They just watch everybody else, and they say, well, I can do it better, and then they just copy it. I don't like that. I do not like that. Such a contrarian.
Let's see. Here's a quick little detailing question from Tinkering with Twins. He just bought the Rupes LHR 15 from the OG store.
Mm-hmm.
I bought 5-inch yellow Rupes pads. Should I have gotten the 6-inch?
No, the 5-inch ones are the correct ones. The 6-inch pads, which is a 7-inch face, so it's a 6-inch back, or the section that connects to the hook and loop, the Velcro or the back plate, is for the LHR 21.
All right, let's see. M. Garcia 24 says, hey, Matt, I tried polishing my black car and left swirls and trail everywhere, and it's also hazy. Can I get some advice on how to fix it? Did I burn my paint?
You probably didn't burn it. You just you probably moved around too fast. I'm wondering if maybe he was using a rotary. It's really hard to do that if you use a dual action polisher. So, I mean, maybe your pad, you weren't cleaning out your pad enough. So make sure you're cleaning out the pad. Do slow, controlled passes. And, you can't do the whole car one pad. That's for darn sure. Black, you probably need a dozen. You need to keep your pads clean. You need to keep them cool. You need to keep them lubricated. And I think that's, if you do that, then you shouldn't have a problem. But maybe if he's using a rotary, that's then you don't know how to use it. Like I probably couldn't get a good result in a black car in a reasonable amount of time with a rotary, just because unless you just have to use it often, you have to have a lot of time under machine in order to really hone your skills using the rotary.
All right, talking about black paint here, Addison J 2011. Hey Matt, I'm 16 years old. I have a couple questions. Number one, how do you pick your car color when it comes to choosing your new car?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there's a how-to on that. It's just such personal preference. I mean, it depends on what I think looks best. What color I think the car looks best in. And then, of course, I have a preference towards white, blue, and that's about it. White or blue. I don't like black. I don't like grays generally. I don't know. I've ended up with a lot of different gray cars. Red is kind of cool to me, but I very rarely ever got. I think I've only ever gotten one. I had 2 red cars in my life. So usually it just comes down to what I think looks best on the car, and then what other cars do I have at the time.
I have a couple audio questions for you. Number one from Ken in the chat here. Any plans on acoustic treatment in the garage? I've been looking into the GIK panels for the front walls behind my 2 speakers, and I have sound deadening lining the underside of the cabinet tops.
The garage is going to be tricky because unless you can get, acoustic treatments doesn't particularly help a whole heck of a lot with echo. That's where doing things like fabric and stuff like that comes into play. It's probably good to shoot the tech support, an email at GIK. But generally, an acoustic panel would be designed to absorb first and second reflection points off of a speaker. And so just throwing some acoustic panels on the wall, although may do okay, like in here it's done okay. But really the point of acoustic treatments is for absorption of the audio out of that's transmitting. So if I'm standing in front of you and I'm speaking, or I'm orating, I'm speaking loudly, then the first reflection point is going to come at roughly 45 off of my voice. The second reflection point is going to be on the second wall, usually behind that. And then you would have, a reflection point at sort of a similar angle off the ceiling and off the floor. And so, acoustic treatment is rather sophisticated to get correct. You may end up just putting a bunch of stuff in there and end up with not a whole heck of a lot of result with the echo. So, and then a garage is difficult because you usually have stuff on the walls hanging, and so it's really hard to get decent acoustic treatment in a garage without taking stuff off the wall and getting your panels in the right spot.
Okay, related to that, from Jeff Franklin on Facebook, what is the price range on the entry-level passive Dynaudio speakers? And then who are you planning to use for patch cables, etc.?
So we're talking studio monitors. Entry level will be the LYD5s. I think they're $700 a pair. And then you need a Node at $550. So you're like, $1,300-$1,400. And then I'm going to be using a combination of Monoprice and Metra, mostly Metra. So cabling, you need $20, $30, $40 cables. We don't need $200 cables. Silver plated and all this nonsense really isn't going to make that much of a difference, especially in the garage environment. So I think we want great speakers, and then we want decent interconnects that aren't going to cause any detriment. But I think the most popular is going to be LYD8s. LYD8s with some form of a subwoofer, and so you start with LYD8s on their own and a Bluesound Node, and then we'll have the appropriate cabling, and then you can add a subwoofer later, and you do something like the Sub 18S in your garage would be a freaking killer combo. The LYD8s I think are $1,600 a pair, something like that. So that'd be in the high end, and then on the lower end, we're going to be able to do some other things with PSB that sounds really fantastic, like a set of AM5s. You don't even need a Bluesound Node, and you can do it for $600, and I think you'll really be pleased with those. And then you can add a subwoofer to that if you wanted to. The issue I'm running into right now is the subwoofer, the Bluetooth or not Bluetooth, the wireless subwoofer transmitter receiver that I got is terrible. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and try to find a better one, because it's from a company called Earthquake, and I just can't get it to frickin' work. So if I can't get it to work, it's not looking good for me to teach people how to get it to work. And it should just work right out of the box. So I don't know. I'm still working on that.
I see a question here from a fan in Indonesia, so I'm going to read this one to you. I'm not even going to try. Sorry, dude. May I know your opinion on touchless wash method, as I've never seen a video from you on this method?
Well, there is no such thing as touchless. That's just spraying a little bit of dirt off. You have to touch the car. There's just no way to do it unless you have some really caustic chemicals, and even then there's still going to be a residue left over. Even abrading it with dry ice, you still have to touch it and you still have to wipe it. So the whole concept of touchless is a marketing ploy that really doesn't exist. There's no chemical that magically removes all the dirt without melting your paint off. So yeah, that whole concept is not really practical. Of course, there are touchless washes, but they're using extremely high pressure, and that's not advisable either.
Doodlebro SH has a suggestion here for you. He says SVS has a great wireless transmitter.
Yeah, I don't like that one either, because it's freaking it's 1/8 inch, which is annoying, because then I got to run a bunch of adapters to get it to freaking work. I got to run a bunch of different patch cables to get to work with XLR or RCA, and but yeah, SVS has one. The best one I've ever used is Outlaw Audio, so I'm going to reach out to them to see if maybe they'll let me buy a couple hundred of them at a time at a wholesale price. But yeah, SVS has one that is okay, and they're all kind of clunky.
All right, here's a timely question for you from Jack Boudreau. Matt, you touched on this briefly unboxing the Hunter machines, but how complicated and convoluted is setup/picking the right model for these commercial machines? Additional thoughts thus far?
You just rely on your rep, is what I did. I said, look, mine was pretty easy, and I said, I want the best one. So I got the Revolution. Now the Revolution is the most sophisticated, which will probably also be the most problematic. I'm assuming there'll be more maintenance and things that has to be done to it, but I told them what kind of tires and wheels I was doing, so that's why I got the RE13 version without the speed clamp, because the speed clamp can damage wheels. That someone had cued me into on the comments on the YouTube video that we made. By the way, you're not supposed to unbox it, and you're not supposed to assemble it. So you're supposed to just get it, and then they have techs around the areas that come and unbox it and assemble it. So yeah, but we figured it out, and so they're going to come and finish the assembly. You'll see. We made a video of us assembling half of it, And then Glenn called me, who's my Hunter rep, and said, "Stop!
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. You're not supposed to mess with that." So, and I could have just told him to get lost. I freaking bought it, but then you could have. I don't really care about the warranty. I'll just freaking pay the guy to come fix it if it needs to be fixed. But I suspect mine's probably not going to be an issue because I'm not going to use it that much.
All right, we have a super chat here from Dustin, $5 US. Hey Matt, I posted this on the Facebook page, but thought I'd ask if you had any quick thoughts on the Cree stylus lights, lighting for an office building.
Yeah, I mean the stylus linear are fantastic. They're $800 a piece. So if you want them, let's get them. But in a garage, you're going to need 20. What's 20 times 800, Chris?
A lot. 16,000.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love them. I think they're fantastic. I need to get one to try out. But, yeah, they're, $800, $500, $600, $800 a piece, depending on which one you get. But the cool thing about them, if you're not familiar, is that you can make, like, right angles, and you could make a square. You could make some hex lights in there. I don't think you could do that, but because they don't make 45s. I guess it makes 45. It doesn't make they're not 12 and a halves or 22 and a halves or whatever you need to make a 45. So you can't use them for that. But yeah, I mean, I think in an ultimate environment where you need it, like let's say for this office, I was considering doing them. But even then, the output of the light is the same, pretty much the same as the regular linear fixtures, the LS fixtures. And so to pay 4 times more, it may make sense. We'll get some of them. We'll probably have them in the store for some of these sophisticated setups. But again, you're going to need a bunch of them, and so you're talking tens of thousands of dollars to do it. The same thing with Cadient. The Cadient lights look fantastic as well, but they're $2,000 a piece. The original light, the main light, is $4,000 because you need the control unit, the SmartCast control unit, and then each additional light is $2,000, and you would need, 8 or 9 of them in a regular garage. So, there's $16,000 again to do it, $20,000 to do it, which I'm not completely opposed to if it's a really critical environment. But if we can get there, figure a linear fixture is $200 or $150 for a similar light. It just doesn't have the really pretty enclosure. So we'll figure that out, though.
All right, let's see. We have another super chat here from Shaz29. I got a 77-inch LG OLED.
Mm-hmm.
I want to set up an entry starter level 3.1 home theater system in my basement.
Mm-hmm.
Any recommendations for a receiver, speakers, and subwoofer? There are too many options to pick from.
Yeah, there's so much. I'm assuming you're saying 3.1. Like if I was doing 3.1, I would just get a really great set of floor standing speakers, a good center channel, and a subwoofer. I wouldn't try to replicate with some goofy 3.1 system. And I think that's probably what he's talking about. In the world of receivers, I like Yamaha, and Onkyo seems to be coming back as well, which is promising. But I like Yamaha the best. The problem with Yamaha, Marantz, Denon, Onkyo, you're gonna have a really hard time getting any of them now. Hopefully in the next few months they'll start to have them in stock. I'm actually going to be doing NAD receivers, which are fantastic sounding ones, but that might be a little bit higher. I don't know what our budget here is for this stuff, but the the T7, I think it's 758, would be the entry level NAD receiver, which would do what you needed to do. Nobody makes a 3.1 receiver. You're going to be buying a 9.1 receiver and then just not using all the channels. And so you'd probably do like some sort of Yamaha, and then the more money you spend, the better it's going to sound. It's a pretty simple formula with that. So the higher up you go, I don't think the returns are diminishing. I think the returns are probably relatively linear, in that the more money you spend, the better it's going to sound, the better performance you're going to get. And so I would do Yamaha, or if you want to hit me up with do a high-end NAD. And then, speakers are personal, but good is good, bad is bad. And so I would want a pair of floor standing speakers and a subwoofer. And I would probably do either an SVS sub or a JTR sub. So look up JTR speakers. And then I would do speakers depending on what the room is like. If you want something that's really efficient and cheap and can rip your face off, you do something like Klipsch. But I would probably, if it were me, I'd be trying to get Dynaudio in there. So I'd do like Dynaudio Evokes or maybe even Dynaudio Emits. The Emit 50s are pretty sick for, I think they're like $1,500 a pair or something like that. And then their matching center would be way cool. Pair that with an SVS Ultra 16. So, you're going to spend, $5,000 to get that set up, depending on, how high up you go in the speaker range.
Jeff Silva in the chat wants to know if we have an ETA on the stainless steel shelf for the active pressure washer. We don't have them in quantity, Jeff, but we can get you pretty much any size if you'll email support at Obsessed Garage. They can help you get that figured out. Let's see. Well, we had a super chat. Christopher Trader, $4.99, but then he didn't have a question, so we'll come back to him. Hey, Matt. I've been going back and forth on ordering the Rupes Nano Hybrid. I have a regular full-time job and do 3 to 4 details a month on the side. What are your thoughts? It's from Derek in the chat.
Yeah, you want one for sure. Yeah, if you're doing, especially if you're making a little bit of money with it, you definitely want one. That's what he was asking. Should I get one? Is that what he's saying?
He's not saying if he has another, if he's got an LHR 15 or anything like that.
Yeah, you want a 5-inch, a 3-inch, and then you want the hybrid. Those are pretty much the combo. I don't really like the PXE 80 all that much. It's more of a luxury tool for me, just to kind of have the ability to throw on a 3-inch pad. I very rarely use it in 1-inch mode. I like the Nano better.
All right, here's some thoughts for you from Ryan. I would suggest putting the balancer on the left side of the tire changer. You rarely need to go over to the left of the balance, but the mounting machine may have hydraulic arms or an air line on that side, which would be difficult with it against the wall.
Well, I can't do that because there's a giant bump out in the wall. And the balancer is freaking 80 inches deep, and the mounter is 80 inches deep, and the balancer is like 50 inches deep, 40 inches deep. So in almost every single configuration you see on Hunter's site, it's the opposite. Or maybe I'm wrong, but it really doesn't matter. I don't give a crap about efficiency on that. I'm going to walk 12 inches difference, depending on how I set it up. So yeah, I want the mounter on the left side up in the corner, and then I'm going to tuck it as close to the wall as I can get, depending on, I just don't know how the arms move and all that stuff. So once I get it powered up, and then the balancer will be on the right side. Both machines operate from the right, so you're operating the machine on the right side of the machine. So to me, it doesn't really seem like it matters that much.
Matthew Stevens here in the chat says, hey, Matt, I know you've tried a few different types of window tints. Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I like Lumar the best. But they change so often, so fast. The tech inside of the manufacturing process they're using for the film is continues to improve, almost yearly now. So, but I like Lumar films the best. Lumar Formula One.
Steel Raven wants to know, hey, Matt, any updates on the flush-mounted lift at your house?
No updates, just waiting on the production of the lift. And we were going to cut the floor this week, but we knew we wouldn't have time to do that. So I'll probably cut it early next year. So I'm going to put my Swiss tracks down now. And then, who knows, maybe I'll be moving out of that house. You'll have to become a member inside the Hex for today's video to get some insight into what I'm thinking about on the house. But I think I'm going to put the Swiss tracks down, and then we'll just pop them up. My doors are arriving Monday, so the shipper's dropping them off Monday. So I'm going to do the doors here next week.
Christopher Weisenbach wants to know, are you going to go visit Tommy F. with his new OG lights setup that he's got?
I don't know if I want to go all the way up there. Maybe someday.
Let's see. Jeff Johnson, our buddy out in Oregon. You guys switch seats. This is going to mess up my whole day. Lots of people commenting on that.
Well, the problem is I got these new mic booms, and they work best like this. They look best like that. And so the computer's kind of in the way. Maybe not. Maybe the computer would work here.
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll try it for you next time, and we'll figure out what works best.
All right, let's see. We have from Pedro on Facebook. Matt, What is the name/brand of the nitro gloves you're currently using? You mentioned them in a video once before, but cannot recall the name/brand.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just some generic crap. Yeah, I don't really. Lots of people were telling me all kinds of things to get, and I didn't get any of them. So I just got whatever I got from who knows where. So just buying them from different places online. Yeah, I don't have a recommendation there. I'm not sure.
All right, let's see. He also says, shout out to the shipping/packing team and the outstanding job they do every day to get all the orders packed and shipped out almost as soon as you place your order. Great job, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah, I've said it many, many times. If we have it, it's going out. Unless it's like, unless we're selling, hundreds of thousands a day more than normal, then we'll, might take a day or so, but still faster than anywhere else. I don't know what the heck happened to Amazon, but I don't get anything in 2 days or 1 day ever anymore. Now it's a week or so, it seems like. So it's almost like the pandemic gave them permission to give up or quit on their whole mission.
And then Mike, right under him on Facebook, Mike Parker, I just want to echo what Pedro mentioned above. I ordered last Friday after the live stream that finished up around 3 o'clock. The team had the order picked, packed, and shipped by 4 p.m. If that isn't efficiency at its finest, I'm not sure what is. Yeah, they were on it last week.
That's a good time. Fridays they're normally caught up, and then Mondays and Tuesdays the weekend, and that's why eventually we'll transition to doing multiple hours, and then weekends, and so nights and weekends eventually. So if this thing gets really big, I'm going to have 24/7 shipping, and we'll be on it. And so, the end goal would be, Black Friday comes and we have everything shipped out, inventoried, stocked, shipped, and I'm sure we'll always be a little behind what products, because we're always dealing with some obscure products, about them being able to produce enough for the demand that we're hopefully creating by marketing it more efficiently and marketing or teaching people about it better than most manufacturers do on their own. But I don't see why we can't build a team that's so efficient that. And they're working on that every day now, and working on we're transitioning to barcode scanning, and then we'll be doing cycle counts. Our inventory is going to be more accurate, and just evolving, taking it to the next step. Because you start out with paper, pencil, and eyeballs, and then eventually we have too many products that doesn't work anymore.
All right, getting back to Christopher Trader here. His question, super chat. I have a mobile detailing setup. I'm looking to replace my squeaky Sunjo. Mm-hmm. Which unit would be best to run on a 3,500 watt generator? And then in the chat, our guys told him it might be best to email support at Obsessed Garage, because they keep up with that stuff pretty good. But
yeah, 3,500 is a little lean. I think you could probably squeeze a 1622 on it, but I don't think a 1322 is going to work on that. Certainly, an AR630 is not going to work on that. You'd need a higher output, 4 or 5,000 watt. Generator, and so I think 1622 would probably be the most robust you could do on that generator, and then maybe an active. The active is going to actually have more output. It's just a junky, cheaper machine. The 1622 you can rebuild, but the 1622 is going to feel a little lean to you. It's going to make you want to up your or decrease the size of your orifice on your nozzle, which is then going to work the machine more, which is then going to make the machine need service more, and eventually need problem fixes more often.
All right, let's see. We have a super chat from Robert Peaster, $4.99. He made a comment about fuel wheels being janky.
Oh, yeah.
I know nothing of wheels.
Yeah,
so what are some of the differences between fuel and method, for example?
I mean, method has their roots in off-roading, right? So they're enthusiasts, where fuel has their roots in making money. It just seems pretty clear to me. I don't know either of them personally, but this is, and I always tell everybody not to judge, but you gotta, you just use common sense. And the styles, method is very plain, simple. Fuel is like this, Razzle jeans and belt buckles and Affliction shirts. That's what fuel is. That's their brand. And so, yeah, I think you want something that looks the part, and fuel doesn't. It always has little sparkly bolts and kind of weird stuff that, for whatever reason, it's like I'm hard and I got a truck, but I can wear some sequins on my shorts. So it's the 90s, the popped collar and the big cuffs, folded back kind of guy, super tan. It's got hair plugs. Orange tan.
The white cuffs with the paisley sleeves and stuff.
Yeah,
or
that's
the
like
other way around.
The jeans are like acid wash with little holes in them that are way too tight with razzle sparkles on the pockets and stuff. Yeah, that's when I think of Fuel. That's exactly what I think of, and I think of the guy who's either blasting country or like the most gangster rap ever, right?
Or both.
And it's like a 50-year-old guy pretending to be 22, because he got a divorce. And now he's out on the prowl again. He's got a few bucks to scratch together, so he got himself some razzle wheels. That's what I think most people think of when they see Fuel. And so when I'm driving around in the Raptor, I'm like, oh boy, people think that the razzle jeans is getting out.
So there you go, Robert. That was a great explanation.
Is it not true? I mean, I'm dead on accurate, am I not?
Let's see. Ken Ping in the chat says, pan over. I want to see a tour of the new office computer setup. The computer's the same.
Yeah.
You got fancier speakers.
Yeah, I got the LYD5s and the Sub 9S down below. And then I pulled out some wires, and I pulled out the speaking of razzle, I pulled out the
lights.
LED light strip that's behind there. It's a freaking stupid move. I had a Philips Hue douche light back there, and I wanted it to be white, so I wanted to pretend like it's not there, but you can tell that it's there, and then it just go crazy, and then the thing it would turn purple and pink, and then just be like, we come in and be on, and it'd be like red. You think of like Gremlins 2, where it's just not good. So I ripped that razzle light out of there and punted it in the trash.
Yeah, I unplugged that thing months ago. It would just random colors to come in the morning. It's like purple. It's
right. Yeah, don't. It's like painting your wall red. Just don't do it. Don't paint an accent wall red in your house. It's not going to look better. You don't need accent LED, different color changing lights. You just don't need it. Don't do it.
All right, we got a super chat, $5 from Bring Your Wood Screws. Is there a replacement for Beadmaker coming?
Well, no, that's the drying aid. So, Obsessed Garage drying aid is the replacement.
It is available now in 32 ounce.
Yeah, and I know the guys at P&S are working on Beadmaker 2.0, so who knows? Maybe that comes out, and I like that better than drying aid, and the guys will be mad at me, but we'll punt that and move to the next thing. So that's what we do. I'm not, I'm in love with stuff until I'm not, and the only reason we do it is if something's better. So that's our whole brand. That's the whole model.
All right, from Jan or Jan, perhaps here in the chat. Hi, Matt. I did a correction in CSL XO combo on my Taycan. Is that how you say it? Taycan?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. It came out great. Can I add an additional coat of XO a couple of weeks later after a wash, as I only used one coat initially?
Yeah, you could probably get away with that. I mean, the only reason why you wouldn't want to do it is if you could feel all kinds of contamination. But if it's a week or two, you're gonna be just fine. Yeah, so you just clean it well, and don't use your drying aid, and just put it on. It should be fine. If it doesn't take, worst case, you wasted an hour and $30.
Peter here in the chat says, hello, Matt. So when would you do a decon on a ceramic coated car? Also, the process in doing that without messing up the coating. Video would be great on one of your cars that maybe needs it.
Yeah, you do a decon when you're ready to rip the coating off and start over. You're always going to sacrifice. If you're deconning the thing. I mean, a lot of times guys will spray some iron remover on, but I think in almost all areas, iron is not really that much of an issue, especially when your car's coated. Iron is going to be less likely to embed itself, and so you're spraying an iron remover on there, which doesn't do anything but remove iron. And so the only way to really decon it is to get a auto scrub or clay bar out, and then you're abrading the surface. You're probably going to scratch it up, so then you're going to want to polish it and start over. So I just don't decon. Let the thing be a little crunchy, and later in its life, and then in 18 months or so, just rip it off and start over. Polish it lightly, and it should remove the coating, and then put it reapply. So this whole 5-year, 10-year bull crap, I just I mean, it's a question of, do I care more about getting my money's worth out of my coating, or do I care that my paint looks the best it can look? And if you care about looking at the best it can look, then deconning the coating is not really in the cards. Because as soon as you do this, you start abrading the surface, you're going to mar the surface. Even if it's microscopic, it's just not going to look as good as it did if you polished and started fresh. So I'm a big advocate of polish and start fresh. Just wait a little longer than you like. The coating will start to get kind of contaminated, and maybe it doesn't bead water as well as you'd like. But that's probably in the year and a half to 2 year range, and then you rip it off and start over. It also depends on the car. Like my M3 that sits inside 95% of its life probably doesn't need it, but every 3 or 4 years.
Henry Collins here in the chat says he enjoyed the 14-second Milwaukee review video on the Obsessed Garage Shorts channel. Reminded me of the Corvette intro video and the spray sealant video. So he appreciates some good humor, I guess. Obsessed Garage Shorts is what to search for if you're looking to.
Yeah, how many subscribers have we got now? We had 1,000 on the dot last week. What have we gotten here?
Yeah, so if you don't like hour-long videos, but you like 14-second videos.
Yeah, it's going to be a bunch of stuff, and the product focus, product heavy. Ooh, we have 1,480-ish subscribers. So you're going to be a Milwaukee deluge, and really, this is our host for our website videos. And we figure we might as well make them live, so that way they're searchable or public, so they're searchable in the future for people.
There you go. Obsessed Garage Shorts. Let's see here from Shaz29. Which is the better option? Buying the long neck Nano for $440, and then the pad package for the Rupes Nano.
Mm-hmm.
Or does it make sense to get the Nano Sustainer Kit for $630?
I like buying the Nano alone. The Sustainer Kit's cool if you like complete sets, but most of that junk in there you're not going to use. So I would, my advice would be you just buy the Nano standalone and then buy the pads. The Sustainer Kit's kind of cool if you like a little carrying case and all that. It's super nifty, but you're getting a lot of bunch junk in there that you don't want. You're going to want the polish. You're not going to want the pads. You're not going to want any of that stuff. You're going to want the specific pads, the right pads. You don't want the blue pads, and you don't want the blue polish, and I don't think you really want the Rupes. The new Rupes polish is much improved, but I think you still want Jescar.
All right, another quick polishing pad question. Can you also touch upon what blue and yellow wool pads are used for? I already have tons of 3-inch and 5-inch yellow, white, and microfiber pads, but no wool.
The wool is nice on some paints. It doesn't heat up as much as microfiber, so it can be an alternative to microfiber. You'll just find that sometimes it just reacts better with certain paint systems and certain colors or certain curing methods depending on how the paint was cured. And you don't know until you just have it and you try it out. And so sometimes it just makes a lot of sense to have a wool pad. And so it's just one of those tools in your toolbox that you may not use as often, but something that's good to have. But there's no real specific instance. It's more of a case-by-case basis on when you're working with it. And if you get to the point to where you're doing a test panel, a test spot, you can assess whether that pad is doing a little better than not. And you'll find that they don't heat up as much as a microfiber pad does.
Taylor Schumacher here in the chat says, how are the NADs, the amplifiers, I can't wait until you tell us all exactly what to get in the audio space.
So at first I hated them. I was like, oh boy, what did I get myself into? The NAD M33, NAD M10, those are digital analog converting amplifiers. One's rated at 100 watts, the other's rated at 200 watts. But they're very, very different than what we're all accustomed to. We're normally accustomed to a Class A or Class AB. Class AB probably more popular, more common. Like most of your receivers are going to have a Class AB amplifier, and they'll have a big toroidal transformer in there if you have a high current system and a bunch of capacitors, and you'll have the big heavy brick. Well, the thing that interests me so much about NAD, specifically for the garage, is that it uses it's like I guess you could call it I don't know if a Class D is a digital amp. I believe it is, but there's a lot of digital trickery that goes on, and they don't need a big power supply and a big transformer and all that stuff, and they need less capacitance. And so they're stepping up the wattage via I believe in the digital domain. I may be misspeaking here. But these really fancy Class D chipsets, there's these boards with that are the amplification section of the preamp amplifier, the amplifier section. They are Class D, and they run like insanely cool. Like they don't get super hot, they don't take gobs of power out of the wall, but yet they create gobs of power. And so at first, right out of the box, without tuning, they're very thin, very odd sounding. And so I got the M10 out. I listened to it for an hour. I said, "This is terrible." I put it back in the box. I'm like, "I'm going to sell this thing." Try to sell it to somebody because it sucks. I don't know how I'm going to sell it, but it's $2,750. But the display of it is beautiful. My NAD really excites me because of that ability to run cooler, especially if you're in a garage. And a lot of times garages aren't conditioned. Now this is in the ultra high end. You'd be doing some high end stuff. When we're doing some high end garages, or people just really value audio. But it sounded terrible. Now I did just a basic 6-position Dirac. Dirac is the software that they come on board, which is the current state of the art. If that's an appropriate use of the word, but it's the current most technologically advanced room correction software, automatic type room correction software. And so I ran I think it was a 5-position EQ, and man, it sounded freaking great. And I know the garage, blah blah blah, you can yell and scream and all that stuff. So the NAD is off to a great start with me. It was off to a bad start. Now it's off to a great start. I have the M17 2i, which is their really expensive preamp processor that I'm going to put in my home theater. And then I'm doing the M28 and M22 amplifiers, and I'll do the Dirac room correction. I'm doing that with Contour 60i, Contour 25ci. I believe it is the model number for the Contour Center. And then I have the Studio Series in-ceiling speakers, the 8-inch versions in ceiling. And right now I still have the JL sub. So I have all of those in my home theater, and I'm going to set that up soon. I'm just waiting on the M28 amplifier to get here, but I like it. I like it a lot. So, and the fit and finish is just freaking beautiful. That's why I was so disappointed, because I love how they look and how they operate, and I love how simple they are. I love the upgrade path that you have. It's kind of like a Krenzler where you can service them. You don't need to service your preamp, but you do need to upgrade at times. So the MDCC slots they have, you can pop in. If you needed, if there was some sort of new connection that came out or something, they'll make a slot that you can slide in there and then update the software. So lots and lots of cool stuff about it, and I'll be sharing all that as I get it all acquired and set up. It's probably going to be a little while because no one has anything in stock. And I'm working on cabling, and so what we'll have is we'll have a studio monitor set up, an active studio monitor. We'll have an active wireless speaker set up, and we'll have a passive, receiver, regular speaker, receiver amplifier set up as well. And then we'll be able to sort of custom outfit it through Kyle and his team. We'll be able to do distributed audio and things like that in the garage if you have some big facility or something. But we're going to have that all licked. It's going to be awesome.
All right, Brad wants to know, what is this that you're handling there?
So we've made the transition to, which I think is, this is where diminishing returns come in. There's minimal advantages of the sodium thioglycolate type solutions, which is an iron remover. And so iron remover, iron buster, it's called, I think is probably the best available now. There seems to be more lubrication. You could use it on the wheels if you wanted to. So since we don't have any iron removing capability or properties in our wheel cleaner through Brake Buster, Iron Buster can be a good additive that if you do have steel brakes, just hit your wheels to sort of decon them every so often, but then using this in our normal decon process, it's available in the store now. So this will replaces Carpro, which was replaced by Ferex, which is now replacing that. So this is the third iteration.
Gotcha. Andy on Facebook wanted to know. Here's today's thumbnail, by the way.
Yeah.
Good job, Mike T. He wanted to know which year was this, middle school? Do you remember which year?
No, that's all elementary school. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
that's sixth grade with the Jordan
the Bulls jersey on. Yeah.
So it's probably 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd.
There you go, Andy.
I want to say third grade is that the one on the top left there.
And then a few people on Facebook, they empathized with you. Who started it here?
I was actually pretty freaking cool, though.
Chris KRIS says, I also sported the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses in elementary and middle school.
Yeah, everybody did.
Albert said, me too. So clearly you weren't the only one.
What the heck were we thinking? But I was pretty freaking cool. Like, I was voted most likely to succeed. I was the most athletic. And I forget what else I was voted or something like that in elementary school. So, I was the cool kid. And boy, standards were low then.
I was going to say.
It all went downhill because then I still looked like that until 9th grade, and so at some point it was not good. Not good.
Lil Malu 7 is curious to know how many Inside the Hex members there are, so I looked it up here. Currently there are active 1,967, either Hexlite or Hex Plus.
I think people are going to want to. We've really ramped it up. So we one of the things that I've been waiting to get to was to the point to where we're at, where we can produce significant content. And so we're like, I made 4 videos this week, something like that. So you're going to want to be a member. It's going to be freaking great. We have all kinds of stuff. And then I asked the Facebook group, the Inside the Hex Facebook group, about what they would like to hear me, rant about or talk about, and so we'll have some really personal, really business-specific topics, and I'll knock out 1 or 2 of those a week as well. So my guess is we're going to have 3 to 5 videos a week on there, as well as we'll be ramping up the YouTube channel again, get that rolling. We've just been doing so much here, getting set up in the Yarn building, and so now all of our stuff is kind of getting reorganized. So we have the unboxing studio, which we're putting together. And so just be ready for a lot of this face all over the place.
C-Mac asked about that. He said, how's the unboxing studio coming along? And is that just going to be Inside the Hex, or is that going to be you doing...
No. There won't be much Hex stuff there. There'll be a lot of shorts and a lot of the regular OG channel there.
Gotcha. Ganja wants to know, hey, Matt, is there an update on the Canadian location? Eventually bought a 32-ounce and a gallon of the new drying aid, but the shipping was just as much as the product.
I'm sure, yeah. No updates. When you guys decide to stop making stuff up and open the country up, I'll come up there, and then we'll get a place, and, we'll be good. The government can take half the money and give it back to you somehow. But, yeah, I'm ready. Just Canada's not ready for me yet.
We got a super chat here from Nandor, $4.99. He did a 2-step with foam pads. I now have swirls from compounding. Is this from not using enough product? Any suggestions to get them out? Great work. And then what?
Yeah, I mean, if you're depending on what was he compounding with? Does he say?
No, someone asked that in the chat, and he said he couldn't squeeze it all into the chat, so we'll see if he answers here in a second.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a combination of product and process. Like I said to the guy with the black car earlier, you can't be using one pad on the whole thing. You got to be blowing out the pad because you're removing material, and then that material is your first panel looked great. And as you worked your way down, the other panels started to look worse and worse. So it's going to be pad, then product, and then, of course, the most important part is the process. And so how fast are you moving? Are you doing what I'm showing you to do? By the way, we're going to have a whole detailing series coming up here as soon as I get the air conditioning rolling in the new building on the Raptor. That's going to be sweet. So I am going to wash it once.
Just once?
Yeah. And I'm going to do Crystal Serum Ultra on that, so hopefully I don't have to take care of it as much. So that's you just gotta watch my videos and do what I'm doing. Don't add and subtract. Do what I'm doing, and then there's no way that you could have it messed up. You got to have half a dozen pads, or you got to go wash out your pad every 2 panels.
All right, let's see. Mike wants to know, will there be a wash and talk this weekend?
Yes. GT4 needs cleaned. I'm going to do one.
All right, Willie Sneaks wants to know, did you fill your junior garage designer position yet?
No.
No, Kyle's interviewing somebody today, actually at 4 o'clock, and then he's got another one Monday. So
yep,
we're looking.
Get your thing in, and forget the whole designer thing. That's just what you're going to do now. Maybe that's what you do forever. This is just a way to. I'm telling you, people. I just know it. I can see what what everybody's doing here, and they're going to take this place. It's this is going to be freaking insane. You're going to want to be here, and like all the guys now that we're creating it from scratch, and so to be a part of the beginning of it is really going to be incredible. I think now is the time, versus. Even the beginning, all the 4 or 5 of us that started out, I think now is the time where it's even more like we're going to do so much more and create so much cool stuff while delivering on all the things that I'm promising the world. And now is going to be, I think this will be the time that we look back and say this was the spot, this time in the business, where inventory is impossible to get, and we're bringing on some key people to take us all to the next level, and then making some significant shifts. And then the new company that I'm starting, my dad and I are starting, that is going to create some significant bandwidth for us. So it's I think you want to be here. So I think I would be, unless you have some job that you absolutely love, I think you're going to want to fight to figure out how to get here. And the way to that is through Kyle at the moment. You got to convince him, and then he has to convince me.
All right, getting back to Nandor's question real quick about the swirls from compounding. He provided some details here for us. Where'd it go? There he is. Torque's random orbital. I used 2 different pads and blew them out regularly. I used the product that came with the orbital.
Well, there's your problem. Throw all that away. Because the chemical guy's polish is garbage. I mean, you're stuck with that garbage polisher, but you can still get the job done. Just throw those pads away and get Meguiar's microfiber cutting pads. Get Jescar correction compound. Get Rupes yellow foam pads, and get Sonex perfect finish. You could just get the little bottle, so it'll be fine. You could do a whole car with the little bottle. You could probably do 5 whole cars with a little bottle. And so you want 6 of each pads, and then you'll solve all your problems. Hit the whole thing with the microfiber, Meguiar's microfiber cutting pads. Do 4 passes. You can pretty much use this formula. So 1 set of passes this way, then 2 vertically, and then 3 horizontally again, and then 4. I forget this is a podcast. 4 vertically. That'd be your 4th pass. Keeping reasonable constant pressure, nice and slow, nice and controlled, overlapping. Blow out the pad after each set of passes. Work like an 18-inch by 18-inch area, or 2 foot by 2 foot at the most area, and and then you'll see the Jescar, and that will completely correct all of those issues you have. And then you'd follow up. You'll be questioning, do I even need a follow up? But you should follow up, and I'd make 3 passes. 3 sets of passes with the Sonex, and you just need 2 pea-sized dots on each set of passes, and you'll change out your pad every couple of panels. So like I would do the hood and maybe both fenders, and then I'd swap out the pad, and then I'd do the bumpers, and then I'd swap out the pad, and I'd do the door and the rear quarter, and I'd swap out the pad. I'd do the roof and maybe one of the other doors and swap out the pad. So you'd use 5 or 6 pads on a whole car, and then when you're doing the finishing, you probably 2 or 3 pads is probably all you really need. But it's good to have extra just in case, and that'll solve all your problems.
We got a super chat here from Alex. $9.99. Do you prefer Iron Buster to Meguiar's wheel and paint Decon, and if so, why?
Yeah, the Meguiar's just, to me, seems so freaking aggressive. We used it when I went to the Meguiar's facility, and it's pretty hardcore. This just seems, I don't feel like I need that much aggression. So that's my take.
I have a question here about airplanes.
Okay.
And so I went and found this email that we got earlier. And as soon as I find the question again, I'll go back to it. That's what happens.
So yeah, I think Iron Buster is just a little bit simpler, and I don't know, I call it safer, but it's just, I find it it's less harsh.
All right, this is from Ethan H. Green on Instagram. Hey, Matt and Chris, I very much enjoy using OG products to detail my airplane. I was wondering if you ever get questions about detailing airplanes and or OG spec solutions for aircraft hangars. So I went and got this email you might remember from earlier this week.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is, but apparently maybe Kyle's been helping him. So we did an error because we clearly didn't spec out those cabinets, but it looks like maybe we had something to do with the pressure
Swiss
washer
tracks,
and the Swiss tracks.
He's got a custom install back there.
Yeah, but the an airplane hangar can be such a cool setup. It can be such a cool place. Because you have so much space, and then if you're spending that much money on an airplane, you should probably dial it in. But it just depends. Depends on the airplane's finish. A lot of times you can polish it just like normal, just like paint. Even though a lot of times the airplanes will have, I think they'll have a gel coat. But yeah, I'm not an airplane expert. But you do need to end up getting like metal polish to polish like different metal areas and things like that. But yeah, I'm not much of a boat or airplane expert. I would think you'd probably want to start working on your rotary polishing with it on an airplane, because I do think that they are aluminum skinned, and then I think that they generally gel coat that. But I'm sure some of them just base coat, clear coat as well. Maybe somebody can chime in the comments there, but I think you just treat it like normal and then wash it like normal too. Wash it with GSF, hit it with drying aid. Keep it nice and clean. It's kind of a cool thing.
And Ethan, if you're listening, email me, Chris at Obsessed Garage. I'll send you some of these pictures to give you some inspiration from one of our other customers. Let's see, from Brett Shepard on Facebook. Huge fan. Have a truck that I coated 7 months ago with Auto Triz from a shop. And the rocker panels seem to have zero hydrophobic properties left. Been washing with Reset with a topper, but still as if they have no coating or protection left. What's the best way to fix this, or does it need to be recoated?
Yeah, you probably have to recoat it. Yeah, I mean, if Reset didn't reset it, then yeah, it's probably just a janky, cheap coating. I've never even heard of that. It's probably just some Chinese off-the-shelf thing that's you're just trying to copy some other coating. They broke down the formula and they use what do they call that, a spectrometer or something? What's the thing where you put the chemical in and then it tells you what everything's in there? And they're just trying to copy it, and they're missing like the secret ingredient, and so then the stuff doesn't actually work. So yeah, you're gonna be polishing it off, put something good on there.
All right, let's see here. Ethan wants to know, we'll go back to this for just a second. Hey, Matt, wondering what your process looks like for interviewing potential additions to the team. Who do they interview with, and what are some of the things you ask or look for in a candidate?
Yeah, I just end up talking about myself and then try to feel them out while I'm not a particularly good interviewer. You can usually tell just by looking at them in the eye. I've made very few mistakes since starting Obsessed Garage. So now what I'm looking to have done is I'm looking for Chris. We put Chris through the ringer for a while. He had to interview a bunch of people, and we put Kyle through the ringer, Bryce through the ringer, to get them to figure out what their interview style looks like. But I'm not a particularly good coach on that, and so I'm looking for them to narrow it down to somebody they like. So it comes down to somebody, like if you have natural chemistry with someone, then it usually flows pretty well. So that's generally, I'm looking for my gut to tell me, hey, this person seems right. And that's, I think, what every person being interviewed, every person that's an interviewee is looking for. And I can think back to the mistakes I've made in the past, and when I didn't trust my gut. And I started to look at all the positives. What could they be? What could they do? Not who they are. Because everyone's going to promise you the world. Of course, everybody can do everything when they're interviewing. When they're starting out, they can do anything. And 6 weeks in, they can't do anything. Or if they're doing it all, they're going to want to be paid more to do the job that you hired them to do. So what I'm looking for Kyle to do is narrow it down to a couple of people who he really likes and has a good chemistry with, and then I'll look at him in the eye and see if I think that he's right. And then if you're wrong, you're wrong. And the tricky part is a lot of times people end up moving across the country. So you don't want to promise me anything if you can't deliver. It's all frickin', then you're going to be screwed. Coming all the way here, and then you're stuck here and you don't have a job. So, but we've done a really good job of that from the beginning. Like, for instance, I use this example all the time. Like Tommy, and I was interviewing him. I said something about, I'm here and I'll clean the bathrooms if I have to. As the owner, I'll do whatever I got to do. Something to that effect. And he said, well, you don't do that. I'll do that. It's just something like that clicked that, hey, this guy's going to do whatever it takes. I don't want him to clean the bathrooms, but, I'm looking for people to do whatever it takes. Because when I was first, hiring people to say at Merrill Lynch, a decade ago, I was looking for me. Well, I'm a freaking psychopath, right? So I don't want me.
You don't want you, right?
The reason Chris and I work so well together, he says we're the complete opposite. Kind of. Pretty darn close to it. And so I don't want me, because then I just want to kill me. Like, get out of here. You're not me. I'm me. And so I'm looking for people that are really great at a certain thing, and you don't want to be me, and so I shouldn't try to create me, and so that's been a big learning experience, and I think that's why Obsessed Garage, and we found such great people here, is that we're looking for people that want to grow and have an opportunity in the future, but want to support what it is their talent supports. And being a psychopath is not one of the things we're looking for. So.
Not yet. Not with this next job, anyway. Let's see. We have a good question from Ross Ford. He says, with each month getting a new color T-shirt, does the previous one get discontinued? I'm wanting to order a couple, but don't want to wait to see what the new one is before ordering twice.
No. So all the olds are staying. So any shirt that we have in the store now is staying. And we're just completing the line. I want the basic shirt to have every color that Los Angeles Apparel makes. And we were just talking about this today. I'm so glad I fought Bryce on this and said, look, I want Los Angeles Apparel. There are some quirks to it, but the way that we solve that is send all the Los Angeles Apparel shirts here. We'll have my mom, Braylon, and Alyssa, who are very discerning. They'll dig through them to find. We're not perfect at it, but to find potential, because they're handmade in California, and the quality is just insane. They're just so good. Like, you just can't imagine wearing any other shirt. It's so freaking good. So good. We should just sell them blank for those who don't want to support it.
Yeah, we ordered like 2,000 shirts, and I think maybe 15 of them had an issue. But they went through all 2,000 shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, they go through, a couple hundred at a time. Not all at once, but yeah, I'm telling you, they're so freaking good. And what all these guys do, I would love to have that little banner on the bottom of YouTube where you could just click shirts. I would sell so many more shirts. But all these guys it's freaking Teespring. The garbage printing, garbage shirts, garbage customer service, garbage delivery. Everything about it is junk. Just so that you can make a few extra bucks, I'd rather. And the shirts cost less. So even with all their service and their drop shipping and all that, their shirts still cost less than what mine do. We're all in like $12 a shirt or something like that. Where most people are selling shirts that are, they cost them $3 printed. $5 the most if they're buying lots of them, but they're printing on garbage. So this is the best T-shirt currently in existence.
Henry Collins wants to know, is Iron Buster available now? Yes. Go to the store. It's under new products. It's the first one listed there. Brian Schwab says, hey Matt, I noticed that you never seem to review Geon products. Is there a particular reason why?
No, I've had them all. I just went through them all again. It's just I just don't think anything they have is the best. And a lot of times the things that are just as good as Car Pro, they were like 5 years behind. So I'd buy the Car Pro. I love the guys at Geon. Jeff and his team are like freaking fantastic people. Actually, Geon, the head of now Geon USA Marketing is coming to visit at some point here. I'm thinking August or September, something like that. So I love the Geon stuff. I love the brands, the branding. It just isn't anything that I've just absolutely had to have. Geon Prep is good. They're all good. They're all, CarPro competitive. But I've got that ceramic detailer in my cabinet that somebody sent me that I got to try out. But yeah, I mean, their coatings are good, but I think CarPro coatings are better, and I think that G-Technic coatings are better than CarPro. And so, depending on what better for what I'm interested in, they're all three of them are great. The other thing that I don't love about Geon is they just have too many freaking options. Like, there are too many coatings. I don't love that. But the Geon line is great. I think it's good. You can't go wrong with it. It's like if you were going to pick a brand to like just go all in and just use all their stuff, I think you would do really well with that. But for whatever reason, I can't really explain it. I've gone around with it 3 or 4 times. Again, I don't review products. I'm not a reviewer. I'm a tell you what I want guy, which is, I think, very different. Reviewers don't know anything. They're just sharing you, reading the back of the bottle, right? They know very little in comparison to what I like to think of myself as a subject matter expert. Call it what you want. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't like, and I can get it. In the very beginning, part of the reason why it probably didn't make the cut originally is I was blackballed from being able to buy any of it. And then when I was unblackballed, I bought it all, and I bought it all from Jeff. He sent me an invoice, bought it all, everything they make, and I have to like something like this. I have to just say yes, like I just know in my gut, and a lot of times I can't even explain it. I don't have to explain it, Some people think I do. I do to get you to purchase, but I don't really have to explain it because I'm very rarely incorrect on this stuff. It's just I've used so much of it and been around so much of it that it just usually makes sense. And so the Geon stuff, just nothing has taken or supplanted something else that I was using that just made me say, yes, I got to have this.
I want to get to a couple detailing questions, but first here, from Stint Placer, this is good. Just ordered 2 new T-shirts. I love them. My neighbors think that I work for you guys. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I think don't we have like in our future rounds, once you get through the colors, we have some real subtle stuff coming out.
Yeah, I think the next one actually is going to be the minimalist.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a minimalist line, so it doesn't look like you're an Obsessed Garage employee.
Yeah. Shane on Facebook says, "Hey Maddie, just wanted to ask you what you put in your wiper fluid. I vaguely remember you mentioning something about it. Just want to get some clarification."
Yeah, Angel Wax Clarity, but we need to punt that. Do we have any of that left? Do we have more coming in? We need to get rid of it. It works great when your coating or your wheel sealant is fresh and clean, but then it gets real smeary later on in life, and I just didn't know that. So I just got on a rant of how I'm right about everything. Well, there you go. That's for whatever that's worth. So yeah, Angel Wax Clarity we're gonna punt, and I'm using now. This is Kyle's recommendation, which I think he stole from the Rag Company guys. Put it in your N914 diluted in your washer bottle in your car.
All right, this is from Piggy Jones on Facebook. Interesting name there, Piggy. So my car is thrashed. My paint is thrashed, and needs to be polished very badly. I can't afford to do that right now, however. So that being said, what should I use for protection that will make it easier to keep clean?
I mean, I have a hard time with that because you just have to go for it. I'm just not good at like halfway stuff. Your thrashed car, I would throw the car away, get a new one, start fresh, polish it, coat it. I would decon it, polish it, coat it, go through the whole process.
All right, there you go.
I'm the wrong guy to ask. Yeah, you're going to want to throw your thrashed car away and get a new one and start fresh using the process that I recommend. Otherwise, you're better off, watching some other guys that are good at that stuff, but I have no interest in it at all. I'm looking for the best car I can reasonably, even not afford, buy the best thing I can get and then try to make it better.
Mason on Instagram wants to know, how often do you wash your wash mitt? Will you clean 2 cars with the same mitt, or do you always use a new one?
Always wash it. Yeah. Always throw it in the washer.
Harrison wants to know, he's looking for the best quick detailer spray for cleaning where a sea sucker mounts when I can't do a full wash before mounting.
Yeah, don't. If you're going to do that, he's just talking about, I got you, he's putting his bike mount on. Yeah, get N914 and mix it up in a waterless wash formula. That's what you want. Use a pluffle, and that's what you do. I know what he's saying. He's not trying to wipe the car down. He's just trying to get that spot. I do that all the time for GoPros, when I'm going out and doing a drive with a camera. So that's what you want.
Emil on Instagram says, hey, Matt and Chris, I'm loving the podcast. I currently don't have a blower, but I'm definitely planning on getting one in the near future.
Yep. So
my question is this. Should I use drying aid during the main drying stage with my big towel, or should I do a second pass with drying aid? Thanks.
Originally, my original process I stole from Griot's Garage, which was to use spray wax, and the spray wax would aid in the water beating up and running off, and so you'd spritz it down, and then you're doing bulk drying with a big bulk drying towel, and you follow with a smaller towel. That was my original process, and then I realized, the drying aid always works better when it's not as diluted. And so then I started spritzing it with the spray wax, and then doing the bulk drying, then spraying it again, and then spreading it around. The problem with the old spray wax is you get on the windows and it was a smeary mess. And so today, I think the way to do it is you blow the car off, get as much water off as possible. And one could argue, is the drying process even necessary? And so really, the drying aid is more of a sealant stage where you're adding another layer of protection. So you're sort of topping off the topping off of the topping off. And so that's the way that I do it. It was blow the thing off first, then do your drying aid, and you're really applying another layer of sealant.
All right, Stint Placer wants to know, when is drying aid back in stock? 32 ounces in stock now. Gallons are not in stock now, but we're efforting there. We're working on that. From Tony, HD Bike Life on Instagram. Hey, Matt and Chris, it's Tony from Chicago. Just wondering if you guys have spec'd out any new pressure washer hoses. I've been waiting patiently for your guidance and getting some new hoses.
So I'm working on that more than I can even explain. So we have a new hose from a company in Texas that we just got our fittings for. So I needed to see what those fittings look like. I'm about to ink the deal for the first 100,000 feet, and then we're going to be manufacturing our own hoses, very likely. But we should have some Cobra Jets coming in here any day.
Tuesday, we have 100 footers coming on Tuesday.
Gotcha.
So,
what about 50 footers? None.
None as of now.
Okay.
No. Do you have any K1322 TSs in stock? And if so, how much? Yes, we have. I think there are 19 left on this latest container that came over.
We had 50 2 days ago.
Yeah, they're not so much anymore.
Gotcha.
So, and those are, I just looked, I think they're 1,066. Yes, 1,066. And then our blue Cox hose reels in stock. Yes, they are. They just came in yesterday. So,
wow.
We are getting stuff in. It's going out pretty quickly as soon as it comes in.
Yep.
Let's see. Had a question here. Super chat from Michael Bowman. Hey, Matt and Chris, I've heard you talk about supply chain issues. Mm-hmm. Are there any plans to give us the ability to pre-order items in the store?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Some of the stuff we already have, but it's complicated. But yes, my goal would be to be able for people to be able to purchase whenever the heck they want, and then we'll get it to you. It's just the hard part is make people aware. That's the hard part. We now have 1,500 products or 1,200 products or something like that, and so it becomes complicated to have somebody go and make sure that those products are reflecting properly, so that because the last thing you want to do is order it and say, well, where the heck is it? And you say, oh, that was a pre-order. Well, and then we bog down everybody, and so there's a balance there, and we're trying to choose the most subscribed products that we know are going to be out of stock for a while, that we're going to be always trickling in, like the Krenzlas and stuff like that, and then we're battling with the issues of like the K1122. I should get every single one that comes to the United States, and they divvy them up. I freaking hate that crap. That's why I'm going to start making my own hoses. That's why by the end of this, I will be buying everything direct. I hate this crap. The 1122 exists because of all this work that I've done, and then 200 of them come in and I get 40. It's nonsense.
From Boost Lee in the chat. Hey, Matt, can Dr. Beasley's metal coat be used on Billet 6061 aluminum? I'm thinking about coating my centrifugal supercharger and bracket when it arrives.
Yep. Yeah, it should work fine on that. It should work great. Again, it's rated at 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit, so you should be good for that.
Swebevator says, I'm an airline pilot and love the show. Yes, airplane paint is very similar to auto paint. Even some auto paint shops paint aircraft.
That's what I figured. Yeah, I think a lot of the bigger stuff is gel coated, but I think he's right. It's base coat clear coat on aluminum.
Here's a question I think you'll enjoy here from Luke Anders on Instagram. I'm building out a wedding registry before next June. What OG house stuff should I add to the list? Shout out to my future brother-in-law Tyler for buying a 1/4 inch M12 Impact and a bit set for me.
Yeah. Lots of Milwaukee stuff is what you're gonna want. You want some Columbia pillows on there. I think I need to start to do an exercise or a chase of sheets. But right now we're using the Tempur-Pedic sheet because it has that little strap that pulls it together, and you can't buy the fancy Tempur sheets. Fancy ones. I think it's the second level up Tempur-Pedic sheets, because the fancy ones you blow through, and at least I do. I freaking roll around like a crazy person in the middle of the night, and so I always rip them right through the fancy ones. You want a good set of knives. Just go with get some cheap. You get some J.A. Henkel's or something like that, or some Wusthof. You want that stuff, and you want some decent pots and pans, some Calphalon or some All-Clad or something like that. You need to get that stuff on your registry. You need to try to talk your future spouse into scrapping the ridiculous China bullcrap that you're never going to use. Ever. You're going to use them. We've had them for 17. How many years have been married? Since 2006. 16 years of uselessness. I still couldn't even get them thrown away in the last try. So stupid. We've used them, in 17 years, maybe 5 times. Then you never want to use them, and they're not even they're expensive to you when you're young, right? It was maybe maybe like $1,500 worth of stuff. I literally I would have more fun going and hitting them with my softball bat than I would having that $1,500 sitting in the cabinet. You apply that $1,500 to something you're going to use, like I said, all-clad, stainless stuff, or maybe you take that $1,500 and get a freaking decent range, whatever you call that, stove, or a better microwave or something like that. So try to talk her into that, or what's even better, have everybody get it for you and take it all back, get the money, get something better. You're probably going to lose that battle. I've been losing it for 7. It's the only battle I've lost. That and 2 kids, But I'm telling you, this stuff is freaking garbage. It's a complete waste. In fact, I'm going to go home and try to throw it away again. I'm just going to gently start putting 1 or 2 pieces in the trash. I guarantee you, she would not know until our next move.
Oh, man.
And she'd be like, where did our China go? I don't know. Maybe the movers lost it. I guarantee you, if she didn't listen to this podcast, I could throw away 1 plate a day for the next year. Or I guess not next year, but next couple of months. And then she wouldn't even know it was gone.
We'll report back on that next week. It's a good question, Luke.
So I'm trying to help you out.
Don't get China.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right, we got a super chat here from Mark. $5 US. Mark Winning. I know you mentioned that the Ego Stubby nozzles were ordered. Do you have an anticipated date you'll be getting them in and have them on the site?
I don't know. You tell me.
No, we do not have a date yet. They're in production.
But we're going to put the pre-order up.
Yeah, we're going to write that down. Pre-order. So no, we don't have a date, Mark, but we will do a pre-order. Going back to my,
I brought it here. I gave it to the guys. I think they're taking some pictures of it. I sent them all the sheets, so it's on Bryce's list to get up.
All right. Let's see here.
It's going to be $60.
From Nathan. Matt, I'll be doing a full restore on my 98 VR4. What type of paint protection / treatment would you do after the car is repainted with the factory paint during the restore process?
Yeah, I mean, you do a full, correction, and then, if you're going to keep that thing for a long, long time, and if you're spending a lot of money to have it painted, maybe just have PPF done all over it. Just do the whole freaking car. Cost you $7,000 or so to do it, and do the whole thing from top to bottom. It'll make it, look good for a long time. And just know that $7,000, you're gonna have to do it again in 5 years or so. You're gonna have to rip it all off and start over. So that's I would just do the whole darn car, and I would do S-Tech Dyno Shield.
All right, Josh in the chat says, shout out to Manny for answering questions about the almost always sold out Comet 1700. Really hoping to get one with this next restock. Thanks, Josh. Manny does a good job over there.
Those are the Italians, man. You get the Italian pressure washer, you're going to be always behind, always taking breaks. So
let's see. We have a couple suggestions here in the chat for you with regard to this whole China issue.
Yeah.
Jason says, put the China in the back of the Raptor and she'll break it all when she's driving. And then Martin, Alligator Window 10, says, just drop the box in your next move so you have to throw it away. Problem solved. And you get to save face.
Yeah. By drop it, fire it off the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt doesn't like the moving part of moving, though. Let the movers, you should palm one of the movers a hundo and have him accidentally drop it.
Yep. Yeah, but then they would be on the hook.
Oh.
Then she would go after them. And say, and then I'd have to palm the hundo to the owner and say, hey, just send me the bill and I'll give you the money, and then you give it back to me.
There you go. Waiting.jpg Instagram says, since you've been on a nostalgia kick with your old stinky BMWs, how do you feel about the 996 generation of Porsches?
Yeah, no.
All right, how about the E39 M5, arguably one of the best dad cars of 2000 and 2003?
I don't really have an interest.
No.
I want a 997 GT3 RS 4.0.
There you go.
So,
what year or years is that?
That's 2010, 2011. I want a 997.2, not a .1, a .2. 997.2 GT3 RS or RS 4.0 in a perfect world. But now they're selling for $600. They were selling for $400. Just going to have to be patient. Wait for the next recession. Hopefully I'm not in recession and I can get one for $299. I don't think that's going to happen ever, though.
From Hayden Schnell on Instagram. Hey, Matt, for the first application of OG Drying Aid, should I dry the car 90% with a blower and then apply drying aid, or finish it off with a towel before application?
No, 90%. That's the kind of the point of the drying aid part. I'm sure it would work better if it was completely undiluted, but yeah, no. I use it for lubrication. That's the main purpose for me.
Takamura Fitness wants to know, can you use a clay mitt on PPF? Looking to do a full prep prior to applying halo.
Yep. Yeah, you can do that. Just be careful of your edges. Yeah, after you do the clay, just pull it out in the sun. Let the PPF kind of self-heal, hopefully, especially if it's a self-healing kind, before you put the halo on. So go pull it out in the sun for the day, and then bring it back in, wipe it down, and then do the halo.
Bob the Builder 01 on Instagram says, what type of glasses have you been wearing? The ones in your last Wash and Talk look new. I'm looking at replacement for my Oakley Crosslink.
I don't know what the model is, but I have a set of Nike, a set of Oakley, and a set of some generic ones. So I bought 3, and I rotate.
Do you prefer any one of them to the other?
I actually like the nerd ones, the thick plastic ones. They're so much lighter than the other ones. They're super comfy. Yeah, at first I didn't like them, but yeah, I like those the most. I think they're a Nike.
Let's see here. Joey Lounsbury wants to know, have you tried the OG drying aid on glass that's coated with G-Technic G1? I applied it for the first time and it left a haze that was tough to remove.
G1, punt G1. It's terrible. Everything with G1, nothing works. So, yeah. I had G1 on my RS. I just polish it off and get it off of there. I mean, I love my Rob G-Technic is cringing when I say that, but yeah, that's the problem with G1. Nothing works on it. It gets all smeary, and then you freaking can't even get it off with glass cleaner. It's a mess.
Well, he goes on to say here, not sure if I didn't buff it off fast enough or if there were other contributing factors, but I do recall others having issues with Beadmaker and G1.
Yeah, Beadmaker doesn't work. I just think it's anything in silicon dioxide probably doesn't play well with whatever the sealant is in G1. So that's why I just I let Billy put it on. I said, yeah, let's try it out. And yeah, ripped it off.
All right, this is from JW Doors on Instagram. Matt, during most of your podcasts, you talk about teaching a younger person about finance in an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Could you make an Inside the Hex video outlining this, as most of us always ask you about smart investments, etc.?
Yeah, well, I just make that video?
I think you did one recently,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So yeah, check that out. It's on Inside the Hex.
Yeah, I mean, now if you're talking to some dumb kid, then it's going to take it. They'll never get in a lifetime. But you just tell them some simple things. Here's what you do: step 1 through step 35. Done. Review this. Write it down, kid, and review it. It's simple. A lot of things are gut feel. A lot of things are difficult choices that they'll have to make, and a lot of it is you got to make mistakes. You're going to have to miss a credit card payment. And then certain personality sets will freak out about that, and certain personality sets will just say, whatever. And they'll ruin their credit for the rest of their life, and they'll be always fighting it forever. I was a kid. I missed one credit card payment just because I was lazy and didn't think much of it. And then it dawned on me. My gut told me, don't do that. I think I was 20, 21 or something like that. I'm like, no, this is unacceptable. I called and got it straightened out and said, look, this won't happen again. And literally never happened again until just this past credit card cycle. Michelle didn't pay you're supposed to clear up this one charge on like one of our old photography. I have an old photography card or Mormon Media card, and it was like some Wix or something, old website thing that charged. I said, you got to get this because it keeps charging me every year. And then she says she just didn't do it, and then then eventually paid it, and then she called afterwards. But so I missed the credit card payments. There's 2 credit card payments I've ever missed in my entire life, and that was one of them. And it was like last month.
All right, let's see. Back to the G1 question. Martin here chimes in. For whatever it's worth to the community, I've used the new OG drying aid on 3 different coatings and glass coatings since I've gotten it. It has played nicely on all of them. So G1 just doesn't like it, I guess.
Yeah.
Wayne Freeman says he's planning to order an OG Viper chair. Do you still hate the tray, or is it worth having your Achilles bump from time to time?
No, I think it's worth it. And I haven't hit my Achilles on it one time. So that I was being over dramatic. It was one of the things that could happen that just isn't going to. And because I did it while I was doing that, I've just paid more attention. But the tool tray is awesome. That's where I set my gun on there, and I set my towels on there and things like that. So I think you want it.
All right, quick nutrition question here from Jason. What is the hardest part of the standard process cleanse, and would you recommend it?
Yeah, I couldn't get through it again. I mean, it's talking about this cleanse. It's a 21-day purification program where you eat a salad. You drink a shake twice a day and a salad once a day. And I've made it through it twice. It's 21 days. I've done it. How many times do you think? 24, 25?
So Jason, you came to the right place with this question. No one on earth has done it more than
Mike's done it before. It's a guaranteed 20-pound loss. It's good. I think you're fine for like 3, 4, 5 days, but then it gets real gnarly, and you're questioning your life decisions. So
it's certainly not sustainable.
Yeah,
Jason.
It's a huge caloric deficit, and you're going to be hurting.
So there you go, Jason. Good luck if you try it. Let us know your results, but it is tough. Let's see. I think that's all the questions I got for today. That's good. Next week, it's my birthday. Don't forget, big party here at OGHQ.
Okay.
And my 3-year anniversary of working at OG on the same day. How about that? So we'll be back next week. I'm working on my birthday.
Oh, I feel so sad.
You should. Matt took off on his birthday and
I did.
Just napped all day and watched Heartland.
I don't get vacation days though, so I just do what needs to be done at all times. So maybe I should give myself some vacation, pay myself vacation days. Anyway, I don't care about Chris's birthday or my own for that matter, and certainly not anybody else's. So we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for liking the video.
I like our new microphones.
Yeah,
they're pretty sweet.
I do like that. It's cool.
See
you guys next week.
Later. Oh, this is my office now. You get to get the heck out of here.
I get to leave.
Turn this off.